But there's another story that's extremely heartbreaking, and it has a place, especially for me being a graduate of an HBCU. A Southern University fraternity pledge died, and now a person, at least one individual, we're expecting more charges, at least one other person is charged in that death. We'll look at this article from the AP. Southern University student's death being investigated as a possible act of fraternity hazing. Let's read this. This is coming out of Baton Rouge. The death of a 20-year-old Southern University student in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is being investigated by local law enforcement as a possible act of fraternity hazing. School authorities confirmed that to the Associated Press on Wednesday. Caleb Wilson, who died on February 27th, was a mechanical engineering junior at Southern University and A&M College and a member of the school's famed marching band. I was also a member of my high school's marching band. A lot of personal connections to this particular story. I wanted to pledge, I didn't. And we're going to get into at another date, not today, but on another date, my thoughts on pledging, particularly a Christian pledging. But that's not the topic of this particular story. Chancellor John K. Pierre said in the statement shared on the college's Facebook page that an off-campus incident is believed to have contributed to Caleb's death. A university spokesperson confirmed on Wednesday that an alleged fraternity ritual involving Omega Psi Phi is being investigated. Ricky L. Lewis, the international president of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Inc., said in a written statement issued on Friday that the organization is aware that authorities have launched an investigation into the tragic incident, and we fully support their efforts to seek the truth. We recognize many of you may have questions, he says, and we are actively working to gather accurate information. We are actively working to gather accurate information. It was unclear if Wilson was a fraternity member. And I think the AP writing this, they don't understand the ins and outs of how this fraternity process works. I think it appears that he was pledging. So when you're in these fraternities, and this is what really can get dangerous. When you're in these fraternities, you go through a process, right? There's certain rules, certain things, and a lot of people join these fraternities for a sense of belonging, a sense of being, a sense of place and community. And I was one of those people that wanted to join a fraternity. I won't say the name, but I was actively pursuing it, and even pursued it after college. So you can do so it's called the grad chapter. You can do so after college. And some of the stories I've heard made me a bit skeptical. And this incident appears to be extremely, extremely severe. I want to share reporting from Fox 4 in Dallas, where one of the suspects arrested in this murder is from. Let's look.
A wily man was arrested in Louisiana, charged with the death of a fraternity pledge during a hazing ritual. Now, according to Baton Rouge police, Caleb McCray was one of 3 men who, while wearing boxing gloves, punched pledges in the chest multiple times. Caleb Wilson, a member of Southern University's marching band, collapsed, had a seizure, and ultimately died. More arrests are even coming. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager live tonight with an update on the investigation. Hi, Peyton.
Hi, Casey. And Caleb McCray, we know he turned himself into Baton Rouge police last night along with his attorney. And today, Casey, we learned that he's from Wiley and graduated from Wiley ISD in 2019. And in Louisiana, hazing can be a felony. And we also learned at the press conference today from Baton Rouge police, they've identified at least 2 additional suspects. They say they're working with them, and they hope to have those arrests as early as this weekend.
23-year-old Caleb McCray of Wiley is now charged with felony criminal hazing and manslaughter. Investigators say McCray is the first arrest connected to the death of a 20-year-old Southern University student after an off-campus fraternity hazing ritual.
Detectives have interviewed over a dozen people and executed multiple search warrants to gather as much information as possible.
Friday, Baton Rouge police provided the arrest update at a press conference. In the early morning hours of February 26th, junior engineering student and marching band member Caleb Wilson was dropped off at the emergency room by a group of men who stated he collapsed while playing basketball.
Now, that was the original story that came out. I want y'all to pay close attention to that. That was the original story that came out of all of this. They dropped him off saying he was collapsed while playing basketball. Outright lie. And the reporting is she's going to bear that out in her reporting. Outright lie. You only lie, in my humble view, if you have something to cover up. Let's watch.
The group left before officers arrived at the hospital.
Caleb Wilson died as the direct result of a hazing incident where he was punched in the chest multiple times while pledging to Omega Psi Phi Fraternity.
Detectives learned the basketball story was a lie. Instead, according to an arrest warrant affidavit Fox 4 obtained on Friday, Wilson and 8 other pledges arrived to a warehouse and changed into gray sweatpants. Police say they stood in a line and were each punched 4 times with boxing gloves by at least 3 individuals, one of them being fraternity member and recent Southern University graduate Caleb McCray. The report states Wilson appeared to suffer a seizure and lose control of his bodily function. Police add Wilson's clothing was changed prior to his arrival at the hospital, where he later died.
Wow.
A loss that has deeply hurt the Southern University campus, especially the school's famous marching band, the Human Jukebox.
That is extremely, extremely tragic. With this story, you have a lot of questions that come up, right? What do we do when it comes to these fraternities? How do we regulate? You know, there are certain laws that do regulate them, and she mentioned that the law that makes this type of hazing potentially a felony. There has to be some type of oversight, I think, in the pledging process from adults, meaning adults who don't have a vested interest in the fraternity. And I get that kind of probably blows into the face of the notion of the secret society type thing. But there has to be. There are tons of stories of people who didn't, thank God, didn't die like this young guy. There are tons of stories out there where it was horrible. It was a bad situation, but they didn't die. It shouldn't get to even the point of just being injured. It shouldn't get to the point of anything other than, if I want to join, if, you know, it's a free country, do what you want. If I want to join a particular fraternity, I go through a process that doesn't involve that type of dehumanization, is really what it is.
Wilson played the trumpet. This week, the university's band held a vigil honoring him, hoping to lift up Wilson's family with love and support.
McCray's attorney sent Fox 4 a statement this afternoon saying he maintains his client's innocence and he's still reviewing all of the evidence. Meanwhile, Southern University also put out a statement today saying that it's pausing membership intake for all campus organizations while multiple investigations move forward.
All right. That is that story. It's still developing. It is believed that more people will be arrested in that case. You saw there, it was mentioned quite directly. You saw there that they believe multiple people arrived at this warehouse where they line these pledges up and begin punching them. Whatever process that is, whatever they do, however they do that, we'll learn more about that in the days, I'm sure, and in the weeks to come. Thank y'all for listening to All Things Jay Shakur, to be it Jay Shakur Uncensored, my long form talk interview podcast, or the weekly brief where I bring you the news, not just the stories you know, but the stories you need to know. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share to this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching or listening on Spotify or anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe, share this with others. Thank y'all for watching.